Welcome, Brad. Thanks for joining us today. I'm very excited to talk to you about the upcoming vinyl repress of Aesthetica Delica by your mysterious side project, BLOODbath64.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thanks for putting out the records. They were quite the hit the first time around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, these things flew off the shelf, and it was basically a year ago this month when we did the first release. And I think I've been seeing people, when are we going to get more? When are we going to get more? Over and over again. So it just made sense to do another round.
Yeah, the more the merrier.
Before we get into that, let's just chat a bit and see how you're doing. Your main gig is TV Girl. You guys just wrapped up an incredibly successful tour celebrating the 6.5-year anniversary of your debut album, French Exit. And boy, what a tour that was.
'Twas indeed. Yes, it was a rollicking good time, a big hit. Kids seemed to like it. Had a little fun, made a little money, as Paul Simon once said.
Have you guys done as big of a tour previously?
It depends if you count them as one big tour. We kind of took a break for 2.5 weeks in the middle, so there's 25 shows, and then. But if you add them together, no, we probably haven't.
I think a little break in between you can still count it the same tour.
Yeah.
I caught you when you came through Phoenix at the Van Buren, and it was an absolutely packed show. And it was great because you, in fact, sold out a smaller venue first, and they had to upgrade you. And I think that happened a couple times during this tour for you guys, didn't it?
Yeah, it did happen quite a few times. Sort of been it's happened to us a bunch in our history, but nothing quite like this because a lot of people don't know about us, so they don't really know, or they never heard of us, promoters and stuff. So they're kind of conservative, I think. And then when tickets sell really fast, like they sometimes do, they're always surprised. So it took some people off guard.
Well, pleasant surprise, I'm sure. I've been catching you guys since 2016. You guys came through Phoenix on the Who Really Cares World Tour. And you guys played the Trunk Space at the original location. And I think I've seen you 4, 5, 6 times between now and then.
So you were at that first Trunk Space show, huh?
Oh, yeah. And it's been really cool.
Did you say hi or anything?
Well, I don't even think we knew each other back then.
Yeah.
I think I probably got some records signed, so I probably said what's up, but that was about the extent of the interaction.
Oh, nice. That was well, actually, maybe the second time. I don't know if you went to the one at the other Trunk Space.
I've been to the original Trunk Space, the new Trunk Space. I think you played Valley Bar, Rebel Lounge, and then, unless I'm forgetting one, the Van Buren.
I think I was talking to my other bandmate Jason a while back, and he remembers that second Trunk Space show was like a moment where he thought like things really changed because like there was a bunch of like young teenagers there all of a sudden who knew every single word and were super excited to see us. So it was like, whoa, that's kind of weird. Like that's never really happened to us before. So that was like kind of a moment.
Early signs of what was to come.
Yeah. Where we were going to be kings of the tween-age TikTokers or whatever.
Yeah, the last show did skew a little younger, but there was plenty to enjoy all around. You guys toured, I think almost every show with Jordana.
Yeah, every show she was playing in the band. So
yeah, that's right. She wasn't she? So that was a really good collab. And you guys even have a split EP titled "Summer's Over" that you released, and it's really great. Right on brand. More good stuff.
Thank you.
No, but you guys have a really good history of putting out, you're pretty prolific. You keep new material in flux. And what's great about you guys is you make sure that your fan base has the opportunity to actually like buy your stuff. You keep things in press. French Exit and Who Really Cares has been repressed many times over, a couple times for Death of a Party Girl. You gave us the box set this year, which was breathtaking when you actually see it in person. The thing's a beast. It comes with like cassette tapes and LPs and all the other good stuff, sticker packs, and I'm excited to get the Summer's Over physical once I ordered it once it's here.
I'm not really sure what's going on with that one. I should follow up. But yeah, the box set, we actually just shipped out the last copies of the box set, so it's officially in the rear view, which is good because it was a total pain in the ass to do and ship out and figure out everything.
You think that'll be the only time you do a box? Is that the one and only for the box set?
It would have to be, if we were going to do it again, probably the 20-year
anniversary.
I don't think anytime soon. I think that was it was just nightmarish to organize all the stuff, and there's some problems and blah blah blah. It was a pain. So
we all know that behind the scenes it can be a ruckus, but the final product that came out was just beautiful. It was awesome. It looks great. It feels great. The box doesn't feel flimsy. So it's inspiring. I've been wanting to do some sort of a box set or something myself for the label. And when you get something new in your hands like that, and you're just like, this is it.
Well, be wary about it. I think I'm going to stick to just single vinyls from here on out.
So let's turn our attention to Aesthetica Delica. You released that August 3rd, 2020, almost a year and a half ago. And you kind of kicked things off kind of like with a little bit of a mystery, didn't you? With what I think you've titled The Great Defacement. Tell us about that. Yeah. What was that? That was a pretty fun stunt.
Yeah. It was fun for us. I don't think it caused any sort of waves, unfortunately, like we thought. We were a little naive. But, we were going to get a billboard. We had been thinking about getting a billboard for a long time. And it just so happened to coincide with when we were going to release this. So we started off with a bloodbath. I don't even remember what it said. It just said BB64, I think.
Well, the original billboard said vaporwave is dead.
Oh, vaporwave is dead. That's right. The rallying call of the Redditors. And thought that would turn some heads maybe if somebody we thought maybe somebody would take a picture of it and post it to the Vaporwave Reddit, but that didn't happen. So we had to astroturf it. I think Jason posted it to the Vaporwave Reddit. But then people did start talking about it. And then we had the idea to tag it with the bloodbath tag, BB64. It was really funny. We really did have to go in the middle of the night. We built a special spray paint can extender that we could do, and we had to hop. It's kind of strange because the billboard is physically actually in someone's backyard.
Oh, okay.
So we had to hop a fence into someone's backyard, and it didn't take long. It took about 2 minutes, but man, what a thrill! I can see why people like doing that. It is. I don't know. The stakes probably weren't that high, but they felt like we'd get arrested. I mean, it was our own billboard, so I don't know how much trouble we'd really get in. But
sure, that would have been an interesting conversation had you been, caught red or blue-handed if that's the color it was.
Well, anyway, it went off without a hitch, and it was worth it for that experience alone.
I think it looks cool, and yeah, it's a cool marketing thing for as long as it lasted as well. And hey, we're talking about it today.
Yeah. A long line of failed publicity stunts, but I don't regret a second of it.
Good. So when you guys first released BLOODbath64, just the name of the side project alone gets your attention because the way you formatted it with blood being all caps, bath lowercase 64, it almost sounds like a lost Nintendo game that didn't clear the ratings or something. What was the?
Well, yeah, that's what it was supposed to evoke because Vaporwave sort of I don't know, it just sounded to me like nostalgia for something that didn't exist. It's kind of maybe you could sum up Vaporwave, the appeal of it is that. So I don't know why. It just came to me. When we were in the van with George Clanton, and he was talking about his vaporwave festival, and I just said I should start a vaporwave project. I mean, it's not that hard, probably. So
then you'll be at the Electronicon 3 as Bloodbath.
I haven't been invited yet, but fingers crossed. This is the one of the year. I basically did the project because I wanted to do the first one, but George snubbed me. I think he was a little jealous about how good it actually was. So
it is really good. I mean, I think I was sending you the first email to say, hey, we should press this up before I was even done listening through the first couple tracks, because I was digging what I was hearing so much. And it didn't look like, I couldn't tell, was there any physical announced? No. Okay. So you shoot your shot and here we are.
Yeah. I wasn't planning on doing anything. I mean, it was kind of designed to just be something that wasn't going to take up a lot of time or effort, and was just going to kind of be a gag, really.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, it's good. I like the music, so there's also that part of it, but I didn't really have any expectations or anything like that. So it was cool that it got a physical press. Records turned out awesome. So
you guys did cassettes with 100% with George? Yeah,
and we did. Oh yeah, maybe we were planning on doing cassettes. Well, I wanted George to release it just through his label in the first place, but he didn't want to do that.
Man.
And then he leased our cassettes. Basically, we printed the cassettes and then he sold them through his website. So
okay,
just to get it associated with the premier vaporwave label, that was the goal.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I definitely picked up one of the cassettes. I was like, I gotta have. I have every other variant. I can't not have the cassette as well.
I see pink moon, green clovers, silver bullets, plus red blood all over. The ill soldier, smart pure Coca-Cola, told so many guns, I got bad shoulders. It's a hold-up, you best do what I told you. When I roll up, I had the bomb in a stroller and tear the spot with a terrorist plot. When I step into the room, all the flowers just rot. The glass shatters, bugs scatter, blood splatters. It doesn't matter just how bad it gets, because it only gets worse. Matches in my purse to burn the church, spit the gypsy curse. Build the hearse, guess I gotta get a grip.
But speaking of psychedelic, Aesthetica Delica, just the name of the album alone it's like aesthetics plus psychedelica. Is that where you were coming with?
Well, it's just a sort of a riff on Screamadelica, I guess, the famous Primal Scream record.
Okay.
And then because it was sort of supposed to be like I don't know, like a parody of vaporwave or sort of a send up, at least from the marketing side. So I wanted to just get the aesthetic word in there just to really make it clear. That's like the catchphrase of vaporwave, I guess.
Yeah, you not just with this project, but with a lot of your TV girl stuff, and just the way you have a lot of tongue-in-cheekness with how you like to handle things, it seems.
Yes, well, I mean, I feel like a lot of vaporwave kind of has it's sort of a winking genre that you have to kind of be in the know in the first place.
Uh-huh.
A lot of times it's kind of like inherently humorous at times, the whole concept, and it's sort of like an inside joke.
Yeah,
for a lot of projects.
Yeah, definitely. There are definitely some projects that are that's definitely. I get what you're saying. It's if you got to get it, and you got to get that it is an inside joke.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just I love that name for a record, Screamadelica. So I just was doing a little riff on that. It's one of my favorite records too. So I'm sure a lot of people have done the whole Blankadelica as I'm not sure. My friend Matt Cawthorn he put out an album called Depressadelica. So I got in contact with him and made sure that he knew I wasn't trying to make fun of him.
That's Elvis Depressedly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because he was just, he was aping Screamadelica as well. So we were just going back. We both really loved the album. So it had the same source. Yeah,
what I find cool about Aesthetica Delica is that there's already something inherently like psychedelic and trippy with a lot of a lot of the vaporwave styles. There's, the sampling and the looping and the kind of like trance-like state you can kind of weave for a track. And TV Girl as a project already kind of has a history of, let's say, recontextualizing sounds and tidbits that you get from the public domain and just kind of out there. Did you find it was easy to kind of change gears and write for this different genre entirely?
Yeah, because it was, since we already sample so much and vaporwave is largely a sample-based medium, it was kind of like the closest. A lot of people say that it doesn't really sound like vaporwave. It just sounds like TV Girl. So, it's not that big of a jump. It was mainly just whatever going to the right kind of source material to sample. It's like 80s, just like the cheesiest 80s R&B or easy listening music is sort of like, I just listened to some of that and just tried to find some good loops and stuff in that. And so, yeah, it was more like, because that's not normally this kind of stuff I would look for that kind of sounds with TV Girl, at least. So, yeah, it was kind of fun just listening to like trying to find like the worst music possible and just like, try to dig some gold out of just the dregs of like forgotten 80s pop. Kind of has like maybe the worst like production quality of music in history, probably. Just like the most, something about that like mid 80s sound is just so, I don't know what it is. It's like the early stages of digital before it was like good, and really clunky drum machines but really hi-fi. It's like kind of grotesque music. And so it's cool with vaporwave because it's like, you really are trying to take like what might be considered bad music and try to make it good. And if you can do that at all,
spin hay into gold,
right?
Rumpelstiltskin, that shit.
I like that idea of taking like the worst forgotten genres and sort of trying to reinvent them or to like use them. Make them good.
Yeah. Because there, like you said, there's gold in them there hills.
Yeah, it's like, if you have something, if you slow something down and put reverb on it, it's probably going to sound a lot cooler than it did before. And because just something about that process is just kind of changes the music fundamentally.
So you were saying while you were touring with George Clanton that you were kind of inspired to spin this project up because, like you said, you were interested in joining like the Electronicon festival or, other vaporwave opportunities maybe. Would you say basically your interactions with George, because you've toured with George going back to at least 2016, as far as I can recall.
It's his birthday today, actually. I'm going to his birthday party later.
Oh, nice.
So we were just in the van. He's a really ambitious guy and is always doing some sort of scheme or scam. And he had this, he was going to do the Vaporwave Festival, which is, no one had ever done that before. Like, it's kind of cool because it's like, you don't really have an opportunity to get on the ground floor of like something that is important to a certain, micro genre, but like for people who like vaporwave, the first electronic, I knew it was going to be important for people who like that genre. It was going to be like a seminal event, which it was, I think.
Yeah, I attended the the number 2 Electronicon 2 in October of that year. Okay, that place was packed. I'm trying to picture doing a show like that again in this day and age right now.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was like a lot of the first time a lot of these vaporwave people met each other, revealed their faces,
Played live.
Played live. It was like the live debut for like half the whole roster, which is the whole lineup, which is cool. And,
cool, but risky too. Like you gotta.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know about the actual performances, but just the fact that everyone was there. You know, it was like a who's who of a certain corner of the music scene.
Yeah, it was unlike any festival or show I've ever been to, just because of the atmosphere you're describing right there. Because it was a lot of you could just see the artists themselves looking to network and meet people, and they weren't kind of jaded by the whole situation themselves. They were just as amped, just as psyched as you were to be seeing them as they were to be playing for us.
Yeah, it was cool. So I wanted to be a part of that, but I didn't get the project together in time. I didn't have a live show anyways, but just didn't make the cut that year.
Do you think you'll play Bloodbath live, even if you dropped a couple tracks into a TV girl set, or would you almost
only if I got the opportunity to play like Electronicon? I think would I be compelled to get something together.
Okay, that's fair.
I performed, quote unquote, a couple tracks on George's live stream that I used to do. That's the only time.
Oh, I'll have to dig for that. I saw a couple of your appearances on the 100% live stream, but I don't think I ever saw you play any Bloodbath.
Well, they're pretty long, so I don't know if you sat through the whole thing.
They can be long. I'm going to dig for that one though. That would be cool to see. Well, let me ask you, you called from the start Aesthetica Delica the last vaporwave album. And does that mean BLOODbath64 was a one and done project, or will we get any follow-up material?
I feel like I did the best I could and don't have anything more to contribute to the genre. I feel like it will just be a one-off thing. I'm not like trying to make a name for myself in the genre. I just wanted to do my version of it and just see if I could, and to see what I would come up with, and sort of maybe make a slightly different style of music than I would normally make, and just have fun with it, which is what I did. And yeah, I mean, the last vaporwave album is just another even bullshit thing to piss people off, but it didn't piss people off. But just, I don't know.
It didn't, because people who get vaporwave get the tongue in cheekness, and I think you hit the right tone there.
Well, that's good.
But I don't think the tracks are awesome. Right off the bat, you've got a super catchy opener with beautiful horses and that deep bass that just kind of like hangs over you. It basically sets the tone for like, you're gonna like sit back. You're gonna be here for a while.
This vision was shared with me as I was helping someone else with their healing. It involves many cultures. It is global in its true message. It is not one that I personally experienced, although I have experienced one that was very similar. This woman and her American daughter stood silently in a grove of all these powerful and beautiful trees. The Chinese mother said with great assurance and boldness, "Who are all these people? So many people, and horses everywhere. Beautiful horses, so many of them. Beautiful horses, beautiful horses, so many."
It's interesting with like, I always wanted to sort of make like, I don't know how long those Spangle songs are, but like trance music like that's 10 minutes long. That's just, some of that music is just like stuff just looping with no changes for like minutes at a time. I've never been able to like, it's just scary to do that because you fear you're going to bore people. So I kind of wanted, when I first started, I thought it was just going to be like sort of something that I wasn't going to put a lot of effort into at all. And I was just going to do the easiest thing, but I couldn't even come to bring myself to do that kind of thing. I just still made them like 3 minutes long, most of them. So I don't know.
No, it's
I
fair.
kinda
To make a 10 plus, even 8 plus, 5 plus minute song, you got to have, your audience has to have a little patience to see where
Yeah,
it's
so I
going.
was a little scared to extend them. Originally, I kind of wanted to do that, just do like 5 minute songs that looped for a long time, or just kind of, because I've always been fascinated with those genres that are just seemingly on the surface could be so boring, but a lot of times they aren't. They're just, you get into a zone, you get into a trance, or it's right there in the name of the genre.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I've never been able to work in that way. I'm used to making, 2.5 minute, like catchy pop songs. It's like
Uh-huh.
my history going
Well,
back to when I was.
it's the language you speak. It's almost like saying like, all right, now learn how to speak whale.
Yeah, but I wanted to do it, but I couldn't, I couldn't help myself. I couldn't do it.
I bet
No.
I bet you have it in you. I say maybe we won't have heard the last of Bloodbath. Maybe we'll get a single 30-minute full length song.
Yeah, like I mean the most famous vaporwave album is that Macintosh Plus album. Those songs are awesome, and they just go on. Some of them just go on forever, just looping, and it's like great. I wish I could. Maybe
Yeah.
if there was another record, I would definitely probably try to do that more. But I'm probably not going to do another Bloodbath record. Too many other things on my plate that aren't even getting done. So
That's fair.
it's low on the process.
It's a solid entry, and you won't mar it with any sort of feeling that you didn't do it as good the next time. Which I could imagine as an artist, you're probably always like wanting to, recapture what was great about what you've already done and move forward with that and bring something new out though, and keep the fans that love the old stuff loving the new stuff, but bringing new people in. I can imagine that can be stressful and hard to conceptualize and even pull off. But at least with TV Girl, album after album, you guys are nailing it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm working on the next TV Girl record. It's the next big thing that we have to do. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of months.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be different. Like you said, it's going to be different enough, but have enough of the similar stuff to have a through line. It's not going to be that big of a departure. But yeah.
So you said you didn't want to put a lot of effort into this album, but you guys at least put even out a music video for one of the tracks, Magazine's Part 2.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
probably the best music video we ever did.
A track featuring Jordana. People check it out. I'll put a link at the bottom of the podcast here, but go check out the music video. It's a really cool. You guys, I'm dying to know who actually did the overlay, but someone hand painted frame for frame some retro video of a guy doing, kind of gliding around on a skateboard, and it just looks cool. I love it.
It's probably the only music video that I'm like 100% satisfied how it turned out. It turned out great. It's too bad more people didn't get into it, but yeah, it just, well, there's this guy on Instagram I follow. It's like, his name's Leon Washer, Washere. And he like rotoscopes old skate clips, and they're super cool. Like, and he just does like, single tricks. Like he takes a couple frames from a video and hand paints a sequence of a trick. And, these are all like old videos that I used to watch as a kid and have a lot of nostalgia for. So it's like really awesome. I always thought someone should do that. And so when I finally found that somebody was doing it really awesomely, I got in touch with them, and I thought it would be prohibitively expensive, or you wouldn't want to be interested at all, because I know how I've tried to do rotoscoping, and it's so time consuming. It's so hard.
Yeah.
And I had this idea because there's this, the routine, the guy who's on the skateboard is this interesting guy named Daniel Gesmer. And he was a freestyle skateboarder in the mid 80s. And he was like maybe the most hated dunked on skateboarder of all time, because he kind of tried to like fuse basically ballet and skateboarding. He tried to, it wasn't about tricks. It was about flowing and doing all these things which you associate with maybe ice skating.
Yeah, it did look very fluid and like he could just be an ice skater. You're right.
And so, knowing skating the way skaters are, like he was totally lambasted and made fun of, and people called him gay and all this and that. And he was featured in an old video called Public Domain that came out in the 80s, a skateboard video. And he had a little sequence in there, and I always thought it was cool because it's just so different. I mean, it's like, I really always respected the guy because I'm like, he just kind of, he really took a risk there. I mean, he really put himself out there and was doing something completely different than anybody in skateboarding has like done to this day. I don't think it kind of represents just like a different route that was never taken in skateboarding. Like he's the only person to really explore that, to have that vision. I thought I should get his permission to use his old routine, and luckily he had an Instagram, or he still has a skateboard. He has a skateboard company or something.
Okay.
And so he had an Instagram that I tracked down. I managed to get in touch with him, and he was mostly cool about it. I had the guy Leon do 30 seconds as a test.
Oh, good idea.
And I sent it to him and asked his permission, and he was a little hesitant at first because he thought maybe I was also like kind of making fun of him. But when I talked to him, I think I assured him that no, I really did kind of like what he was doing. I thought it was interesting. And so I think he was reassured by that. And then he, had the guy Leon do the rest of the. It was great. I mean, it wasn't even that expensive, and he did it really fast, which is like really impressive.
Yeah,
and it turned out awesome. I mean, just couldn't be happier with the video.
And it's perfect for you because skateboarding is kind of a big part of your life right now, or still to this day, is it not?
Yeah, it is. I live next to a skate park, so I skate almost every other day, probably. Getting older now, but I've been skating since I was a little kid, and just it's kind of the only exercise I like to do. So
it's fun. It's a blast. I've been skating for years as well. I've had a bit of a hiatus, and to be honest, the last time I did hop on a board, I ended up breaking my arm. But it's the only time I've ever broken anything. So
I've never really gotten that hurt skateboarding. I'm always worried about that. I know it's going to happen one day, and that might be like a serious turning point.
It was nothing. It wasn't even anything cool that I can even like brag about that I was trying either.
A lot of times it rarely is. It's just slipping on a wet patch on the concrete or something stupid.
Yeah, you can slip and fall straight down onto your ass, and if you just come down a little on the wrong side and maybe bump your, I thought it was just a stinger at first, and I was like, oh man, it's been a while since I've smacked my arm that hard, and then the pain doesn't go away, and you're just like, okay, here comes the I told you so's.
That's terrifying. It hasn't happened to me yet, luckily, thank God. Yeah, I still skate almost every other day still.
Yeah, I got to get back into that. I basically had a brand new deck too when I went out, and it remains pristine to this day, more or less.
Yeah, so it was awesome to sort of like, I don't know, to get to talk to him and to sort of contribute a little something to skating, which I love so much. And
yeah, it's a part of skate history. You're kind of like the music, you're kind of recontextualizing it and bringing it to a new audience.
Yeah, I thought his whole routine is beautiful. So just to put it in that, to make it really pretty, aesthetically, and yeah, I mean, it turned out, guys, great. I thought it would be like something people would really, the thing about music videos is no one really gives a shit about music videos. I've known this for a long time. That's why I mostly don't do them or put any effort into them.
Okay.
But it's a shame, that people didn't see that more, honestly.
Maybe we'll get a couple more views on it as we're pushing this record around.
Yeah, hopefully.
I think my favorite track on the album has been Escalators to the Moon, and it's a tough pick. It's not like it's a clear winner, but I feel like that's the one that gets stuck in my head the most, and I will return to. But when I return to the album, though, for this, even if just to listen to one song, I always end up, oh, you know what? Let's take it from the top, because it just flows really good. I think, again, I said it before, but I think you nailed it.
Yeah, it's short. It's only like 30 something minutes, so short and sweet.
Yeah, easy to digest.
Yeah, that's a good one. That might be one of my favorites too. It turned out really good. This was my friend Ashley singing with me playing guitar, which I don't do that often, but
Okay, that's cool.
I kind of wanted to make it sound like this band called Surfing. They're probably one of the best like vaporwave bands, adjacent bands,
all the way from Australia.
Yeah, and that's what I was like aiming to make one of the songs like kind of sound like one of their songs, but didn't really end up sounding that much like any of their songs, but still had a good result. That
was the seed, though. That was the source of the inspiration. That's cool.
Yeah, that's probably my actual favorite vaporwave album is that Surfing record, which is like a classic in my mind.
Yeah, what's it titled? It's the one with the art. Yeah, Deep Fantasy. That one, and that was on. Yeah. That was one of George's first kind of big gets on his label, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was a big. It was an internet favorite, and just kind of like an organic.
It's one of those like Floral Shop, the Macintosh Plus album you had mentioned earlier. It's probably considered one of the classic foundational albums from early on in the scene.
On that record. Love every song on it. I can just put it on whenever. Always down to listen to it. You can put it on at a party and it works, and you can just listen to it. And I also, it's like it's so repetitive, but it doesn't get boring either. It's like it's a really hard trick that they pulled off with that one. It's really nice.
Brad, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm super excited that this record is going on sale at the end of the month on Friday, January 28th, 9 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on store.slyvinyl.com. And we have a whole slew of new variants available, including another run of the Wax Mage. And this new version of the Wax Mage just looks killer. I can't wait for you guys to see it. We have a couple different splatter varieties. And I just think that all the colors really just work with the album art. And it's just been a blast putting this release together.
Yeah, thank you. It's been awesome.
The other thing I wanted to maybe reveal, and I think I've mentioned it to you, but we haven't quite spoken too much about it, is the addition of an extra little surprise here. We're going to do 30 liquid-filled versions of the Bloodbath release. And liquid-filled with color-changing seals on it, compliments of Plasticat Deviations, one of the very few people that are doing liquid-filled records these days. Brad, we're going to make sure you get a handful of these yourself. But
I want to check this out. I have no idea what those are.
Liquid-filled records. Yeah, it's almost like, think of back where like old psychedelic shows where they would get the oil wheels and they would shine light through it, right? And there would be like oil and water of different colors that could be projected through. Someone basically took the same concept and said, but what if we did that with records? And so we're going to have some phenomenal looking full size LP, liquid filled. And the color changing part is actually the seal that seals the liquid in is going to have a UV ultraviolet sun reacting. So it'll go from like a pink to a purple. It's just going to look killer. And I can't wait for everyone to see these.
Hell yeah.
So
Seconded.
Yes. So that's the big reveal. I'm so excited for everyone to check this out. Thank you again for letting us repress this. I think there's just been such a demand even since a year ago when we dropped this that I expect these to go fast. So anyone listening right now, if you're going to want to get one, Friday, January 28th at 9 a.m., SlyVinyl.com, be there. Brad, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Nice chit-chatting.
Tell George I said what up and happy birthday. He probably doesn't know me.
He knows of you.
Okay, sweet.
But I'll relay the messages.
For sure. Well, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for your time. We'll be in touch.
Definitely. All right. Thank you.
Adios, amigo.